Good afternoon, everyone. This is kind of part two of last week's service delivery. We kind of have a theme for each quarter for people who have been watching this for a long time. And the first quarter is usually for architecture focused, like how to find hardware and software that your clients are using. The second quarter is service focused, like how do you discover what services your clients have and what services you should be delivering to your clients.
Mhm.
And the third quarter becomes cybersecurity focused, and then the fourth quarter becomes strategic focused. So, right now we're trying to get you talking about like what is it that your clients actually do, and what do you do for them, and like in particular this week, it's like how do you generate profits? Like service delivery is very high profit, and
Mm.
we don't we don't tend to lean into it enough. Like we want to sell more PCs and more licenses. It's like, oh come on. Wh-
Yeah, and we can
why
think about a
not
couple of ways.
sell your thing
Yeah.
that you do?
So remember, architecture being what they have, services, how they use it. We can really lean into this if we consider your service offering as an architecture element. Do they have that contract in place? All right. This is a really critical element, maybe, and you can approach this a variety of ways, but a customer who has a managed service agreement that is not really managed, it's a break fix solution, right? And so you come in and say, no, you need a dedicated solution. So that's a thought process on that one there. But however you approach that, at the end of the day, you need to think, all right, now I am managing them. What is the value that they're going to get? How can
Yeah.
I show what I do for them? And spoiler alert here, showing the number of tickets that you closed or the number of, objects that were blocked, from a giant syslog report, that's not how you do it. So you're really going to focus on what you're able to provide that is of value to their business.
Yeah, and it's just really frustrating to me to watch MSPs disengage with their clients because they've been convinced to sell the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've convinced to do the wrong thing. You're not a professional MSP if you're not if you're not managing your EDR. You're not a professional MSP if you're not doing 16 think of all the things that you're not doing, and they try to fear you into this. Now if you buy our software, you'll now do these things, you'll now be a professional MSP, you will now be delivering more licenses, more PCs, you'll be tracking warranty even better, and you really your client doesn't care. And what they cared about was you. They cared about doing business with you.
Yes.
But you coming in saying, hey, how can we sell more hot dogs? How can we help our clients more? And you just gave up on that because you decided to be a Best Buy. Maybe that's who you are. You're a Best Buy. You like reselling PCs. You like reselling hardware, and that's okay. You're being deliberate about it. But what if you could go out and spend time talking to your clients and them paying you for advice and strategy, and you're like, oh, that doesn't really work. Everybody says they can do. Like, I did it. That's how I founded this company. I can show you the receipts. I can show you my first 3 years of profit, and you'll see like, oh my gosh, they really wanted to learn about this. And this is somebody with who came from the corporate world and came in to a bunch of really mature MSPs in my area in Lincoln, Nebraska here, that were not delivering strategic services. And so these small little like companies would pay me $5,000 a month to tell them how to behave and what to do. And they get services that would make things better for them. And they were so desperate for this, and these MSPs would just not do it.
Yeah.
And they weren't engaging. And sometimes it was a case of like no one trusted the MSP to do it, because every time the guy or girl walked in the door, they were trying to sell Microsoft licenses, EDR, antivirus. You got these 16 PCs that are out of date. And you spent the entire hour talking about you, and weren't saying like, okay, tell me about this.
Right.
Tell me about what you're trying to accomplish here and what's frustrating about your environment. so that I can provide services that are going to help you get to the next level.
And the margin element is something that I always come back to. So you look at a lot of MSPs, they got started. Someone was like, hey, I'm having computer problems. Can you help me out? Right. And so you do that. But you realize they need, some sort of hardware. They need a new PC. And you send them down to Best Buy or someplace and say, here, go buy this and I'll set it up for you. But it's just kind of an evolutionary step. You're like, wait, rather than send them down to Best Buy, why don't I buy it and make a few dollars on it? And you keep doing that and you grow your business. And so you're looking at this now, though, and if you're satisfied with your profits, all right, if everything's great, you're spending as much time on the beach and taking as much time off as you want, maybe you can check out here. All right. But if you're looking to grow your business, do you really want to keep chasing those small margin deals? All right. Because Microsoft license is the one that pops up all the time. Yes, you can probably sell more Microsoft licensing. Can you just turn that on one day? No, you're going to have to push. You have to make a sales pitch to do that. And you're going to need staff and probably tools to manage all that, right? There's no way you're going to manage Microsoft sales through just the Microsoft's portal, right? That's a nightmare, right? So you're buying more tools, which erode your margins even more. So lots of gnarly details there that all bring that down to narrow margins. So if you're looking to grow your business, do you want to keep doing more of these penny ante deals that you're doing now? Or do you want to turn to your existing customers that you already have relationships with and provide more value, and they'll be willing to pay because the benefits that you provide help their business, their investments, and there's a lot more margin in those.
I think the big problem is in this industry there are KPIs that don't matter.
Yes.
And people ask me like, well, how many people work at your company? How many clients do you have? Like, those don't matter. They really don't, people. And so I would rather have I want you to think of this really carefully. A $500,000 ARR business at 80% margin than $1 million business, a $3 million business at 10% margin.
Yes.
All right. So when you're doing this, like it starts to like at 10% margin at $5 million. So like, okay, now I'd rather have the $5 million business. But how much more work is that $5 million business than the 500,000 at 80% margin?
Yes.
Right?
How easy is it to grow your staff right now? What is the cost of your tools done over the last few years?
Yeah.
What do you think that trend is? Where do you think that trend's going to go?
So the question is like, what your success model looks like is complicated. It's not a straightforward answer. And so you're doing this math here and you're working so hard. And eventually you got to realize, okay, where is it that I need to work on? And I guarantee you, unless you are a massive MSP, your margin's all in services.
Yeah.
And this Microsoft licensing, how much are you spending tracking Microsoft licensing? How much are you spending tracking warranties? I'm guessing only a handful of you out there actually know that number.
Yeah.
You just know you had to track it. And so you'll spend 10, 20 grand a year tracking licenses and warranties that make you no money. They're making like $5,000. And that's why we make fun of you, because you're like, oh, I'm making $5,000 on this. Like, okay, how much are you spending to do that?
Yep.
What does this look like from a cost center perspective? And when you look at it that way, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm losing money. I am spending my high margin services, like services and delivery, are earning you like $80 a pop, and you're spending $30 of that so that you can be a reseller for Microsoft licensing. Yeah, so you need to track Microsoft licensing because it's just part of your job, and there's
it's part of it.
Tools out there to do that for you. It's only like a one-time a year audit that you should spend maybe 20 minutes on, and you're just obsessed over it every week because you think that that's important.
So there is a common conversation that comes up, and in around tracking Microsoft licenses. And there seems to be an overinflated value of showing your client, hey, you're paying for X number of licenses, but you're only using X minus whatever. And being able to sit down with your client and say, hey, I saved you, what is that? 30? I mean, the big one, 60, 80, I don't know. Well, let's call it $100. I saved you $100 because I realized we didn't deactivate that user that was let go a little while ago. All right. And that seems to be the value, that you saved them $100. And that's not it. How much money did you make them?
Yes.
Can you show what your solutions do that actually provided margin in their business? And you, again, we've said this over and over, you don't have to be experts in their business. You need to have conversations, and you can clearly track your services and how you help certain areas of their business. And your narrative switches to, hey, last month I saved you $100 by catching that user, to, hey, that solution we implemented, it looks like it's making you guys an extra $1,000 this month. Totally different perspectives.
Yeah. So the narrative switches. So I've got a couple bullet points we're tracking today. Like, how do you generate profits with service audits? All right. So we're 12 minutes into this conversation here. And Skip has finally gotten to the core of it, where we say, I'm not both have gotten to the core of it. Is that when you start seeing yourself as a profit center rather than a cost center, that is how you change your mindset, because a lot of you believe in your hearts that you're a expense for your clients, or you're a risk management solution for your clients. You don't value yourselves as profit centers. If I put $1 into your MSP, can I get $2 out of it?
Yep.
Yes, you can, but you don't. I know for a fact that when I was doing VCIO or fractional CIO services for small, poor private schools, that they got 10x returns on my advice. There's no reason why they couldn't get that on yours. And you think I'm talking out of my butt here, but I was adding classrooms onto their schools that they weren't able to do before. They were using up space for technology that they didn't need to use. They were doing mobile labs that they were unused. And because of the advice I gave them, that we worked together, they were the experts. I just happened to clear up some things. They were able to add on entirely new classrooms. And when you've got kids spending 10 grand a year on tuition, and you've got 20 more kids coming into your school every year because now you have an extra classroom, do the math. It's been 10 years since I gave them that, or no, it's been 8 years since I gave them that advice. Do the math. What was the return on that $5,000 to $10,000 investment? And so you can be a profit center for your clients if you choose to be. But you don't, because you're too busy being a reseller, and you're too busy focused on hardware and software, that you're not focused on, you know what? You're a doctor's office. Why aren't you doing telehealth? Or maybe they say, we want to do telehealth, but we don't know how to do it securely because of HIPAA. Well, would you like me to look into that for you? I'll engage our advisory services, and we'll figure that one out for you. Are you okay with that? That advisory service is going to be about $1,500 a month, and they'll work on this problem for you and put it out to bid and come back to you with a HIPAA compliant telemed solution. And then you're like, oh my gosh, you can do that. Oh yeah. We actually focus on medical industry, and we have several HMS professionals inside our MSP, and we'll help you with that. All of a sudden, this local doctor's office can now see kids at home, can do mental health checks at home, and do a series of items at home. There are ways to do ear exams from your house to your doctor. Did you guys know that? Did you know that you can do remote glucose monitoring? No, I mean, probably because it's not your area. But the point is that MSPs that are helping their clinics, if you're a medical focused one, they're helping these clinics make more money and be more efficient. They don't have to pay administrative staff to monitor weight rooms. They don't have to do this and that. They have a doctor who can work from home and
Yep.
see 10 patients in a day and never leave their home.
Absolutely. And and though it's actually a really easy conversation to have. So if you're shifting the focus away from tickets and licensing and you're having genuine conversations with your customer, these things are going to come up. We have lots of resources. If you need prompts, more likely than not, they're going to come up naturally, but you can nudge them along. And when they say things, yeah, we've been really looking in that telehealth, it's really easy to go deeper by saying, why? A one-word question, right? And they go, well, the margins are really good. They're interested in their margins too. They're like, we don't have to have someone coming in. There's automated tools for scheduling and all this sort of stuff. I can get remote doctors. They can talk through all these things. And they go, but when I bill the insurance, it's almost the same amount as someone coming in at an office visit, but my costs are half of that, right? Right there. You've just discovered the ROI component in that, right? You start tracking that, and now it gives you a scale too, right? Maybe they don't need, a Cisco Firepower 9200 whatever, right? Maybe that's a little overkill, but maybe we bring it down into realistic terms going, if you think this is going to be a revenue source in this range, let's create a budget for a technology investment that will allow you to achieve that business goal. Simple workflow and thought process to go through here. And now your client's looking at it going, yeah, that's right. Can you sell me that stuff? Can you set that stuff up for me? And you've flipped that dynamic on this rather than you pushing, a project across the table. They're pulling it from you.
Yep.
Can you do this for me?
Yes. That's called client-led sales.
That's it.
And so what you're doing here, and you're like, Adam Escape, this is great, but that's just not me. Like, okay, but there are 10,000 solutions out there. Your job, while you're sitting there fixing Susie Q's mouse, is to be creating a dialogue with her that says, hey, tell me about what's going on in your company lately. Small talk. Doesn't have to be earth-shattering. And then they talk about and they mention something, and you're like, oh, well, actually, they just came up with an AI tool I read about in Tech Weekly, and that actually might work for you. We want me to look into that for you? I go, yeah, that'd be great. And you bring it over to them, and now they're like, oh my gosh, what else does this guy know?
Yeah.
And that is a service you are providing that should be part of your delivery. And a lot of you don't charge a la carte. This should just be part of something that you deliver as an MSP. You're helping your customer become profitable, find the technologies that are going to generate them revenue, so they want to pay you more money as they keep growing. Yep. Grow your customers, they grow with you. You're charging per seat anyways. Well, and as they grow, you grow. Don't just sit there and go, yeah, we'll clean up the messes when they happen. We'll prevent a few future messes, and then you just listen to us on our EDR and you'll be fine. Yep. Now, sit down with them and talk to them and to provide a service and say, how is IT servicing your company? What services are your company providing that IT can augment? And that's how you kind of do this. And summer is a great time to do this, people, because a lot of people are a little bit more relaxed this summer. They're kind of backed up on their project workload. You can go out and say, hey, we're going to have pints outside on Friday. Come pick the brains of our engineers. Yeah. You want to learn about AI? I mean, it's just a lunch and learn. Just be casual about it. And talk about, like, where can we take you?
So let me give you a little bit of maybe a little bit of slack here and a little bit of direction. So I'm going to really, really date myself. All right. But so you're running a network, you're, deep in the bits and bytes technology guy, like I was back in the day, and you're looking to switch from OSPF to BGP, right? It's a big deal.
Wow.
You don't just roll that out in production environment. You do that in your lab, right? And so by the time you show up, you're already prepared. You know what to do. And when you hear these things like Adam and I have been talking about, you're like, I don't know. I mean, you don't have a lab environment to do that with, right? So you struggle and you hesitate with those. So let me tell you, it does get easier just like in your lab when you took those two devices and you applied, your AS numbers to the BG interfaces, and you had a small step and you set up one connection. You can do that now by just having small conversations that will build and grow. Yep. So if you need just an easy way to start, that's clearly there. Reach out to us. We're full of resources like this. Adam and I both really enjoy doing this. We get great opportunities talking with our members. I had a couple today where the members like, well, we just got this new client and they had a bunch of old PCs. What are we going to do with this? And so we walked through it. They have a good handle on it anyway. He'd already done a lot of the conversation. I was kind of helping him with some other stuff. But my point is, we would love to help you with that. So please feel free to reach out. And it's an easy process to start. And it won't take nearly as long as you might think to really get adaptive in that and get flowing. And the returns on it are quick and the margins are high.
Yeah. And I just want people to really embrace this. We preach this all the time. We're like broken clocks here. Or wait, skipping records. There's some phrase there. Like, we keep saying the same thing over and over again. So if you've been tuning into these long enough, you start hearing the same phrases. And this is one of them. Start selling your services. Even if you are all inclusive on your pricing, start presenting these services. Start helping your clients understand, like, hey, it's summertime. Let's try to get some of these projects knocked out now while everybody's kind of out of office and are on vacations. Let's get some of this stuff done. And so that we reduce the downtime and we're not as in the way anymore. Like, wait, whoa, that'd be great. Because what happens is, I think I wrote it in our newsletter this week, was you keep pushing things off to next quarter. And then eventually that one quarter, Q4, is an absolute crapshoot. And all you want to do is relax with family and friends. And now you can't. Summer is the time when you can push things off. Like, push things into the summer. As long as your staff isn't doing a ton of vacations, summer's a great time because the schools are down, everybody's kind of out, it's very relaxed, and you can talk about projects and how you can augment. Like, hey, while you guys are a little bit more down, let's go ahead and put in that telehealth solution that we talked about first quarter. Let's go ahead and deliver some of these things. That way, when it comes to third and fourth quarter, when people are stressed, you have a lot more free time to adapt to some of these outages and some of these issues. And that's how service delivery works. You put the people first. You don't put the tech first. You put the people first in a service delivery model. You're not thinking, oh, I need to give them more Office 365. You're thinking, what are they doing and what software solutions are going to get them there? What are they doing and what hardware solutions can I get that'll get them there? And that's the heart of what a QBR should be. That's
I want to double down on the offer to help out. I mean, we know a lot of you guys watch these after the fact, and you may be strolling through one of the social media platforms and find this video, weeks or even months after we've recorded this. I want to show that offer still stands. That is at the core. Who we are is helping MSPs. So if you're hearing this and you're like, man, I really want to do that, reach out. We really do want to engage with you and partner with you to help you be more successful.
And we'll even be doing a QBR workshop here, a paid workshop with some professional MBAs and business consultants, where we're going to teach you over an afternoon how to do all this stuff. You don't have to leave your office. You just log on and you're going to get training on how to run a QBR that actually helps you drive this kind of conversation so that you're stickier with your client. You're helping them increase their profits, and you're working with them on a roadmap that turns you into a profit center rather than just a cost center. So when next MSP comes in and says, hey, we can save you $13 a seat if you work with us. And I'm like, yeah, but they made us $2 million last year.
Yeah. It's really hard to unseat that.
No one's going to ever unseat you. You're a partner. You're a seat at the table. If this company could buy you, they would. And it does happen where they buy their MSP and it becomes the IT department. I know. I worked for $1 billion company that did that. And so you want to have this. You want to have this relationship where you're helping. Like, imagine if one of your clients got so big they just bought your MSP. Like, imagine that success story of how good you did your job. I've done this in corporations where we helped drive profits so that the IT wasn't just a cost center. The CEOs saw the IT department as the idea department. Where do we get things from? They got to be in the room with the board. They got to be in the room with the VPs and the execs saying, okay, where are we going? Because the IT person will raise their hand and go, look, actually, there's a tech out there that can solve that for us, and we could be on the bleeding edge of this.
Yeah.
It's going to cost us $250,000 to invest. But from what you're telling me, this is a $30 million opportunity. So let's get this done. Or we can hire 30 staff members and we'll eat up that $250,000 in the first 4 months.
Yep. So
be that person, be an advisor, take classes in this, go get an MBA, go and look at if you're a conference junkie, look for the conference rooms that say, turn your IT into a profit center. Look for ones that say how to have better conversations with your clients. Find those ones. Stop going to the ones that say how to sell more EDR, how to sell more security services. Go to the ones that are business focused that look a little boring. They used to be at conferences all the time. I haven't seen one in a long time. How to make IT a profit center. Those used to be really popular, especially in the corporate world. They were really popular. There was always a breakout room at every Microsoft event that talked about that. Now I can't remember. Maybe I need to offer one, but I'm not paying that. If you want me to speak about this at your conference, you let me know, but I'm not going to pay your fee.
There we go. Well, let me close with this. And Adam knows I love my catchphrases, but if you're not pulling a seat out at the executive conference table, then you're sweeping yourself into the janitor's closet.
Yeah.
And that's just an unavoidable direction that your MSP is going to be taking. So which one do you think is going to pay better? Where do you want to be? And you just got to decide and start taking the steps. Yep.
So I thank you for everybody for coming on again. For those of you watching this recorded, there always are a bunch of you. Reach out. We are going to do that QBR workshop. It is a paid workshop. This is not something we do for free. I partner with other companies to do this, and this covers our costs and generates a little profit. But we are going to teach you how to do this stuff, not how to resell our tool, not how to resell our services. Right. We're going to teach you how to have an actual QBR conversation with your clients that results in your MSP making money, regardless of your tool set, regardless of your personnel. This is how you have great conversations. You'll get marketing collateral, you'll get handouts, and you'll get guidance, as well as you're going to build up some great relationships. So you'll have somebody ask questions. You're like, hey, I've got a client doing this. Hey, talk to Jeff, talk to Joe, talk to Adam, talk to Skip. You'll have built this little network of resources as well as some collateral to help you have these better conversations. And that's how you get to next level service delivery. And it may be that in 5 years, you're not even doing break fix anymore, that you don't even care about Microsoft licensing because you've outsourced it all. Yep. And you're just doing IT service delivery. There you go. All right, everyone. I thank you for this. I forgot to check and see what we were talking about next week, but it's May, people. We are almost halfway through Q2. We're heading into Q3. Q3. People need to realize this. Like that is 7 weeks away. So yeah, we're getting through the year. If you have uttered the words, we'll just do that next quarter, you're losing now. You're officially losing because you have, I think in my email, I pointed out that because Q4 is really like, there's no December. That doesn't count for time. And 2 weeks in November are shot in the United States. That means that you have a quarter and a half after this to get all your stuff done. And if you said next quarter, Q3 is your last full quarter.
Yep. And it's a busy one.
That's how you get stuck in firefighting mode, people. And if you're in firefighting mode, you want to learn how to get out project management wise, reach out to Skip or I. We'll happily help you.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Thursday.
See ya.